welcome back to another Crypto Dave video. So in this video I'm going to start the intro video basically to a 4-year experiment. Those of you who are following the channel will know that when I started redoing the videos a month or two ago, I said I was going to sort of commit to the next 4 years, so a whole cycle of videos. So I thought as part of that, one of the ways I can keep myself kind of invested in this and sort of held to account to a certain extent is if I do a 4-year experiment. So my initial idea, and it's changed a little bit and I'll explain that as we go on, but my initial idea was 200k to 1.2 million over 4 years. So this was my initial idea. The reason behind that was that I had around 200k, just a fraction under 200k of stablecoins. So the idea behind it was that we'd start with stablecoins and then we'd end the experiment also with stablecoins. So the idea behind it was that it will cover a complete 4-year cycle, so 1st of Jan to 2026, so January just gone, through to the 1st of Jan 2030, starting with 200 grand and ending with $1.2 million. And I got to that figure basically by sort of giving an estimate of what I thought was a reasonable amount that you could make every year from crypto and DeFi over an entire cycle. And I came up with a figure of 50% basically. I've changed that to 48% just because it divides nicely into a monthly amount. But if you start with 200k, if you do 48% a year, you would end that 4-year period with $959,000, so just short of $1 million. But if you take that same 48% and divide it monthly, so that's 48% a year is 4% a month, and then you compounded it monthly, that actually rises to 1.31 million. So a big difference between saying I want to make 48% a year or I want to make 4% a month and then compound that as it goes on. And within kind of crypto and DeFi, a lot of stuff can be compounded monthly. Probably the upper range of that will be monthly, so something like Ledn pays out monthly in terms of interest, but a lot of liquidity pools are paying out constantly, and you can compound those depending how much you've got in them, certainly probably every week, every month, even for something on Ethereum mainnet where you're paying higher fees, you might want to do it less frequently. But I thought a monthly figure gives us 1.31 million, so my idea was 1.2. It's somewhere between the two of those, and it's a nice round number that means basically we've done $1 million of profit. So we started with 200k, we've ended with 1.2 million. So excluding that initial 200k, we've made 1 million over a 4-year period. So that was quite a nice round number. Now, as you'll see in the next few videos, it's already tweaked a little bit, but basically I will be using DeFi, CeFi and capital appreciation. So start of the experiment on the 1st of January, I actually had 195 and change $1,000 of stable coins. It was mainly USDC, and in terms of where it was located, I had 40,000 on the Solana chain that I was using to short Solana using the perps on Drift, and we'll come on to that in the very latest video, obviously the big hack on Drift. And the rest of it was mainly earning interest in Aave, XtraFi and Pendle. So this was before I'd started my active kind of shorting. So the crypto that I got rid of at the end of the last cycle was all in stablecoins. So 1st of January, 195,000. Now, I will go through the first quarter basically. So I'll do January, February, and March, and then in a few days I would do the April update because when I actually started putting these figures together, it was a few days ago. I know it's the 3rd of May now, but it was towards the end of April. So I would do a follow-up video in a few days to do the April figures. But basically in January 2026, by the end of the month, so this is basically what's happened during that month. By the end of the month, we had 236,000 in USDC. The total invested was 201,000, so that had increased by about 6,000 from the 195 we started with, and that's a profit loss of 35k. Now, in terms of, I was going to start and finish with that 200 kind of k, but I am actually moving more fiat from pounds into USDC at the moment, and I've been doing that for the last few months, and I will probably be doing that probably for the next 1 to 2 months until I finish up. So I will update this with how much has been invested each kind of month, and then we'll rework the figures from whatever it ends up with. I don't know exactly how much that is going to be because, as I said, I've probably got another month or two of moving some Great British Pounds, GBP, in the traditional finance system into essentially kind of crypto and DeFi. So profit loss at the end of the first month, 35k. And what did we do that month? So I closed the Pendle positions as they've matured. I added Ledn and Nexo as a source of interest for some of my USDC. Next, there was only a very small amount more in Ledn. I opened an LP position on Pax Gold USDC. This is on Ethereum mainnet. And I started my sort of active short of Bitcoin. So I borrowed Coinbase-backed Bitcoin on Aave, sold it immediately for USDC. And the idea behind that, as I've talked about in previous videos, is the price goes down, and then when we have to pay off that loan, pay back that BTC, it costs us less USDC. So the next month, so this is basically what happened in February and what the figures were at the end of February. So by the end of February, we're up to $304,000, but the total invested had gone up to $249,000. So invested almost $50,000 that month, and you'll see that's going to be an ongoing kind of trend for the next few months. So the profit loss was up to $55,000. I added Camino and Unitas for interest on USDC. That was Camino on the Solana side, Unitas on Base. And I increased my short on Bitcoin essentially. So I borrowed some more Coinbase-backed BTC on Aave and again sold it immediately to kind of short it. And then in March, by the end of March, we had $361,000. The total invested was up to $309,000, slightly depending, when in the week I'm investing, when the end of the month ends depends on how much it goes in. But basically I'm putting in £5,000, which is about $6,600 to $6,800 twice a week on a Monday and Friday. So the profit loss was 52, so down 3,000 here. That's just because we had a little bit of an increase in the price of BTC, so therefore our short is not quite as profitable. I closed the LP position on Pax Gold USDC, and I tested an LP's position on Sol USDC. This was on Orca, and this was for another experiment I'm doing, comparing holding USDC and buying at a lower kind of price compared to basically using an LP position as a sort of like DCA down as it kind of drops, and seeing if the fees that you accrue make up for that. And I'll do that, the results of that, in a future video. And I also borrowed a little bit more BTC on Aave, sold it immediately to short it. So that covers the first 3 months. We started, as you see here, blue bars are the actual amount we had on the first of each month, and then the green bar is the invested. So 1st of Jan, that was right at the beginning, so there's no difference between these. And then you can see the amount invested went up a tiny bit in February, and then up substantially in March and April, about 50,000-ish on both of those months, 50, 55,000. And then you can see in blue our total amount going up. And then if we jump over to the profit loss, you can see obviously nothing when the experiment started, but then February was 35,000 up to 55 in March, and then back down to 52. So down a little bit over this month. As I explained before, we're earning interest from the LP positions and interest on the USDC that's in Aave and in XtraFi and Ledn and places like that. But because that price of Bitcoin has gone up, what it will cost us to kind of buy that back increase. So that's why there's that little drop there. So that's it for this video. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to talk more about how I'm positioned within this. I'll probably do I'm planning to do a monthly rather update. So in a few days I will do the April update, and you'll see that big drop there from the drift hack, which is still kind of ongoing, what's going to kind of happen with that. But I will do that in a few days, and then basically early first week in each month I will do an update of what I've been doing over the previous month, how I've changed things and what the results have been. But if you want more information about exactly how I'm positioned and stuff like that, happy to do videos on that as well. And if you want a monthly video on exactly what my kind of portfolio is, how this particular experiment, how the money in this particular experiment is positioned, I'm happy to do that as well. So thanks very much for watching as always. If you give me a thumbs up, that would be fantastic. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Hopefully I'll see you on the next video, but until then, have a great day. Bye bye.